Hello students of class 10. Welcome back once again to Indrani ma'am's biology class. So today I will be giving you some questions from the chapter life process. So what you do is you just see the questions. I will discuss some answers and then please write the question and answers in your biology class book copy. So the first question, what is meant by metabolic activities? Give some example of activities which are essential for the maintenance of living organism. So how we will write the answer? I will discuss how to write, but don't copy paste whatever I am telling. I'll give you some points and make you understand about the question. First you have to write what do you mean by metabolism or what do you mean by metabolic activities. And the life process can either be anabolic or catabolic in nature. And the nutrition, respiration, transpiration, transportation, excretion, these are some essential functions of the different living organisms, that those are required for the maintenance of the living organisms. So you have to give the examples of the things or the activities which are essential for maintaining the living organism. The next question, define nutrition. What are the different modes of nutrition? First you have to define about the process of nutrition. What do you mean by nutrition? And then you have to write the three different modes of nutrition: autotrophic, heterotrophic and holozoic, and you have to write one or two sentences about each. The next question, discuss about the autotrophic, heterotrophic and holozoic mode of nutrition. See, in the previous question you have written about the different modes of nutrition, and here you have to discuss about each mode of nutrition. You have to write about the autotrophic and you have to write the heterotrophic and about the holozoic mode of nutrition separately. Next question, define the process of photosynthesis and also give the events occurring during the process of photosynthesis. So you have to first define what do you mean by photosynthesis, what is happening during this process, and after that you have to give the events which are occurring. So what are the events? First you have to write about the absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. Next you have to write about the conservation of that light energy to chemical energy, as well as splitting of the water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen, and after that about the reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. So you have to write the events. Next question, what are the organs of digestive system in human body? So digestive system, what it consists of: alimentary canal, digestive gland, and the different parts which are associated with the alimentary canal, the mouth, esophagus. So this you have to write about the small intestine, large intestine. You have to write about the entire organ starting from the mouth. So you have to discuss each point. The next question, how does digestion take place in human being? So first you have to write point number 1, digestion is starting in the mouth. Here you have to write what is happening here in the mouth, about the salivary gland, about the salivary amylase, and the complex starch is breaking down into simple sugar or maltose, and the tongue is mixing the food, and mastication is taking place, and the food is becoming soft and slippery. This we will discuss in first point, digestion starts in the mouth. Then number 2, you have to write about the esophagus, what is happening, the connectivity between the mouth and the stomach, and then the esophagus is regularly contracting and relaxing, and the food is getting through that process into the mouth by the peristaltic movement. This you have to write. After that you have to write about the stomach. Third point, you have to write what is happening in the stomach and the wall of the stomach. It has many gastric glands, they are producing gastric juice, it is containing HCl, mucus, pepsin, etc., which is killing the germs and creating acidic medium for the action of pepsin. So there you have to write these things, and what is happening due to the presence of mucus, due to the presence of pepsin, and so on. After that it will reach, the food will reach to the small intestine. What is happening in the small intestine, that also you have to write. The digestion of the food is occurring in the small intestine, and the semi-digested food is going into the small intestine with the help of the sphincter muscle, and many enzymes are secreted by the liver and pancreas and helping in digestion in the small intestine. You have to mention in such manner. After that, you have to mention about liver, the largest gland in our body, which is secreting the bile juice, which is helping in the digestion of fat by breaking it into small globules of fat, which is known as emulsification. And bile juice is making the medium alkaline in the small intestine, and that is helping the intestinal juice to help in the digestion of food. This you have to mention in this point. Next question, discuss about the pancreatic juice, which contain 3 different types of enzyme like trypsin, lipase, and pancreatic amylase. So you have to write about trypsin. What is happening? Trypsin, it is digesting the protein and converting into peptones, peptides and amino acids, and lipase is converting fat globules, fatty acid and glycerol, and pancreatic amylase, it is converting carbohydrate into simple sugar. That you have to mention in this answer. Next question, how does the nutrition take place in the plant body? You know what is happening in the how does the absorption of food taken place in the human body? Okay, this I will discuss first, and next question about the plant body I am coming later on. In the human body, how is the absorption of the food taking place? Now how you have to write this? The digested food is passing through the villi and is entering into the blood that is flowing in the capillaries in the villi. This villi makes the lining of walls of intestine rough, that increases the surface area for absorption of food. Here you have to write about the process of assimilation, that blood is carrying the digested food to the cell, and the excessive absorbed food that is not utilized is stored in the liver as glycogen, that is known as the animal starch. And about the what is happening in the large intestine, that also you have to write. The undigested and unabsorbed food passes through large intestine. Here water and the salt absorbed from undigested food and rest are spilled out to the anus. So you have to mention this. Next, how does nutrition take place in the plant body? The real site of photosynthesis, you know, in plant is the chloroplast, and present, which it is where it is present in the middle portion of the leaf, which is known as the mesophyll layer. And plant will prepare the glucose C6H12O6 and stored as starch, complex sugar. Upper layer of the leaf is known as epidermal. Second, that the middle is known as mesophyll and the lower is known as epidermal. This all you have to mention. And 3 types of chloroplast are pigment green are present here. Green pigment, colored pigment, and colorless pigment. You have to mention about all these 3, and in that way the nutrition is taken place in the plant body. Discuss about the heterotrophic nutrition and define the other modes of nutrition. So you have to write about what do you mean by heterotrophic nutrition, and the energy is derived from the intake and digestion of the organic substances, normally of plant or animal tissue. Now different types of heterotrophic nutrition are present: saprophytic, parasitic, and holozoic. These 3 you have to mention separately and write 2 or 3 sentences about each. The next question which comes is, what are the steps of holozoic nutrition? Holozoic nutrition, first you have to mention what do you mean by holozoic nutrition, and after that you have to write ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, egestion. These 5 points you have to write 2 to 3 sentences on each point. Ingestion, you know, the taking in of food. Digestion, second point, you have to mention the process of converting complex food into simple soluble form by the action of enzymes. After that, the third point you have to mention is absorption, the mixing of the simple soluble food into blood. After that, the assimilation, you have to mention by the process by which the food is transported to cells for its utilization. After that, fifth point, you have to mention about the egestion, that is the removal of undigested food outside the body. These 5 points you have to mention in this answer. Describe the circulation system of human being. About the circulatory system, you know, you have to write about blood. 4 to 6 liters of the blood is present. It is also known as the connective tissue. You have to write few sentences about blood, its functions. What are the functions? Transport nutrient and oxygen to the cells and to carry carbon dioxide, urea, and other waste materials from the cell. Now you have to write about the components of the blood, about the RBC. You have to write about the WBC, blood platelets, and blood plasma separately. So RBC, you know, the the 5 million in number in our body. It contains hemoglobin, which helps in carrying the oxygen with blood, and the red color of the blood is only due to the presence of hemoglobin. You have to write these things, and excess of RBC has been destroyed by the liver RBC, by the liver, and how the RBC looks like. It is biconcave disc. There is no nucleus, which gives largest surface area and allow them to fold up and pass through the small capillaries. This you have to mention. You have to write about WBC in the next point. What is the function of WBC? That it makes the immune system of the body, creates antibodies when bacteria enter our body, helps in defense mechanism. This is all you have to mention. Next, you have to mention about the blood platelets, how the platelets are rounded, colorless, biconvex, non-nucleated cells. You have to write, which is helping in the coagulation of the blood. Thrombocytes are present, which is formed in the bone marrow. You have to write few sentences about blood platelets. After that, you have to mention, of course, about the blood plasma in this answer. But approximately 55% of the blood is made up of plasma. It's 90% water and 10% dissolved molecules are present. Three types: albumin, which is helping in the water regulation; immunoglobulin, which is helping in the formation of antibodies; and fibrinogen, of course. So here you have to mention in this manner. You have to arrange the answer properly. Next, what are the functions of blood? You have to write this answer in points. Blood performs the following functions. Number one, what it does: transport of oxygen. You have to write 2 to 3 sentences. Next point, you have to write about transport of carbon dioxide. Here also 2 to 3 sentences. Transport of nutrient. Number 4, transport of excretory product. Number 5, regulation of body temperature. Number 6, maintenance of pH. Number 7, water balance. Number 8, transport of hormones. Then you can mention protection from diseases and clotting of blood or blood coagulation. So make few points about the function and write about each. How you will write? Suppose point number 1, if you write transport of oxygen, you are writing transport of oxygen, giving a colon, and then writing what red blood corpuscles. It contain hemoglobin that combines with oxygen and form oxyhemoglobin, which is transported to the tissues of the body for the purpose of respiration. In this manner you have to write. Okay, understood? Next, describe the mechanism behind the formation of lymph fluid. You have to describe. So the answer will be a little bit, it will come under the long answer type questions. Describe the mechanism behind the formation of lymph fluid. Now the high blood pressure at the end of the capillary belt is much greater than the solute potential of the surrounding cells. Thus fluid is forced out of the capillaries, and at the various and the capillaries, what happens, it creates a, where this blood pressure is very low and the solute potential of the blood is much stronger, so the blood is more concentrated. The overall effect is to ensure that the tissue fluid is constantly on the move, and so every cell of the body receives a fresh supply of nutrients. So this you have to write the mechanism behind the formation of the lymph fluid. Next question, discuss about the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system, you have to write how you have to write. It's a system of tiny tubes called lymph vessels or lymphatic and lymph nodes or lymph glands in the human body, which transports the liquid lymph from the body tissues to the blood circulatory system. You have to mention about the lymphatic system, which runs parallel to the veins, consist of different parts. That you have to mention how you will write. The lymphatic tissue fluid, it's colorless, containing lymphocyte cells which fight against infection. Lymph flows only in one direction, that's why from tissue in the heart. Lymph is also called extracellular fluid as it lies outside the cells, and lymph drains into the lymphatic capillaries. And the lymphatic capillaries are very thin walled capillaries, and it forms a network in every organ except in nervous system. Lymphatic vessel, what it forms? A secondary pathway for fluid returning from the tissues to the heart. The lymphatic capillaries unites to form the lymphatic vessel, which are very small veins in structure. And you have to mention about the lymph nodes or the lymph glands, where it is situated in the course of the lymph vessel, and generally it occurs in groups and are oval or kidney shaped. They are rich with phagocyte and lymphocyte, thus they act as filter for the microorganism. And then you have to write what are the functions of the lymph. First function, lymph carries digested and absorbed fat from intestine and drains excess fluid from extracellular space back into the blood. And number 2, you can mention another point, it protects the body by killing the germs and draining it out of the body. The tissues, body tissues, with the help of lymphocyte containing in the lymph nodes. So in this manner you can write the answer. Next question, write a short note on the blood capillaries. So I'll tell you some points and you collect more points, find out the answers from the book and write in your biology classwork copy. About the blood capillaries, write a short note on the blood capillaries. How you will write the answer. The arterioles branch into a network of very small blood vessels known as capillaries. These have a very large surface area and thin walls that are only 1 cell thick. It is in the capillaries that exchange takes place between blood and the tissue of the body. Capillaries are also narrow. This shows the blood down, allowing time for diffusion to take place. So tissue fluid is formed in the capillary walls, but their walls are very thin. So in this way you can write the answer. Next question, describe the mechanism of the human heart. So about the heart you have to write its mechanism, what it pumps, its parts. This all you have to mention in this answer. Blood flows from where to where, both about the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood. Next, what do you understand by blood pressure? What do you understand by blood pressure? Blood moves through our circulation because it is under pressure, caught by the contraction of the heart and by the muscles that surrounded our blood pressure. The measure of this force is known as the blood pressure, and the blood pressure will always be higher, in the two main arteries just outside the heart, because the pulmonary circulation inaccessible blood pressure is measured in the systematic circulation only, that is blood leaving the left ventricle only normally in the upper atrium. So you have to write the answer in this manner. Next question, discuss about the systolic pressure and the diastolic pressure. You all know this answer. You have to make separately you have to write. First you have to write about the systolic pressure and then you have to write about the diastolic pressure. Next, describe the transportation in plants. Transportation in plants. So plant transport system, it moves energy, stored leaves and raw materials from the roots. These are two pathway are constructors conducting tubes. You have to mention about the xylem, which moves water, mineral obtained from the soil, and the phloem. You have to mention about phloem also, which transport the product of photosynthesis from the leaves where they synthesize to other parts of the plant. And the transport of water and the mineral also you have to mention here. The plant require water for making the process of photosynthesis and also need mineral salts for various purposes. The water and the minerals are absorbed from the soil by the roots of the plant and they are transported to various parts of the plant like the stem, leaf, flower. So you have to write the answer in this manner. Okay, so till this much today. I'll give you few more questions in the next class. Okay, so get well prepared with these questions. Write this question answer in your biology classwork copy. Okay, thank you for today.